Tiga doang ya, silakan.
Halo, cek, cek. Ya.
Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu, mohon izin untuk kamera bisa diaktifkan karena Pak Menteri nanti akan melihat secara galeri. Terima kasih.
Asia, with its vast and steady growth, has turned itself into the leader of global economy. Indonesia, with its strategic position, has the chance to take the major role in this era. In order to build global partnerships and counteract the threats, strategic policies should be taken. To enhance the nation's competitive advantage, further approach through in-depth, comprehensive studies and researches are crucial. With our long history, has proved ourselves to be a reliable academic institution. After successfully adapting into distinct programs, in 2016, officially the program turned into School of Strategic and Global Studies. School of Strategic and Global Studies Universitas Indonesia contributes the cause by producing qualified human resources and studies. Situated in the heart of Jakarta, the School of Strategic and Global Studies provides a variety of courses on multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary studies at the master's levels.
In my humble opinion, I can say that I have a good impression at the first sight. An atmosphere and ambience here support us to gain more and achieve more other than merely classes and handouts.
I think that is a very promising because of the multidisciplinary approach that Universitas Indonesia offers us to study. For another reason, the situation that I actually got in the classes is a lot of interesting current issues that we're talking about, so it's academically fulfilling for me.
With dedicated and qualified lecturers from academic and practical background, School of Strategic and Global Studies Universitas Indonesia produce scholars and practitioners that will ready for global challenges. Together, we build the nation for a better world.
CSDA SSGS Universitas Indonesia, in collaboration with UCSI University Malaysia and the University of Tokyo, Japan. We are proud to have CSDA Webinar Series 4 with the big theme, Information Technology and Innovation in Facing Strategic and Global Challenges, 3 countries' perspectives. I am Siti Nur Hasana. It is a great honor for me to be the master of ceremony for this event. I am pleased to inform you that among us here, we have Honorable Minister Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, SE, MUP, PhD, Ministry of Research and Technology, Indonesia. Due to certain circumstances, the Honorable Minister Hairi Jamaluddin bin Abu Bakar cannot be with us today. We are happy that we have Honorable Secretary General Datuk IR, Dr. Siti Hamisah binti Tafsir, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, Malaysia. Honorable Executive Director, Mr. Satoshi Kogure, QZSS Development, National Space Policy Secretariat, Cabinet Office, Japan. Professor Dr. Ari Kunchoro, SE, MM, PhD, Rector of Universitas Indonesia. Academician Senior Professor Dato Dr. Khalid Yusuf, Vice Chancellor and President of UCSI University, Malaysia. Professor Dr. Rernat Abdul Haris, Vice Rector of Universitas Indonesia for Academic. Associate Professor IR Dr. Jimmy Mok Phi Hong, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Student and Alumni Affairs of UCSI University, Malaysia. Professor Dr. Pang Xiu Moy, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Postgraduate Studies of UCSI University, Malaysia. Ator Subroto, PhD, Director of SSGS Universitas Indonesia. Abdul Muta'ali, PhD, Vice Director of SSGS Universitas Indonesia. Dr. Lin Yola, CSDA Chairman. Professor Dr. Kurunatan A.L. Ratnavalu, Director of Institute of Computer Science and Digital Innovation, UCSI University, Malaysia. Dr. Dinesh Manandar, Associate Professor of Project, Center for Information Science, the University of Tokyo. Dr. Hendrikus Andi Simarmata, Lecturer of Urban Studies Department, SSGS Universitas Indonesia. On behalf of CSDA, I would like to extend gratitude to distinguished Dean, Vice Dean, partners, respected invited guests, head of departments, professors, lecturers, and participants for attending this event. The School of Strategic and Global Studies is a leading Universitas Indonesia's postgraduate program with multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary approach. SSGS carries forward research innovation to enhance the vision and mission of Universitas Indonesia to be the top research world-class university. Center for Spatial Data Analysis facilitates the development of innovative technology-based research center. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to CSDA Webinar Series 4. Now we will have the performance of 3 respective countries' national anthem, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Japan. Respectfully welcome.
Di sana
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to some technical situation, our YouTube streaming is moved to the different account. The details will be announced in the chat room. Now we will have a message from CSDA Chairman, Dr. Lin Yola. She is also a chairman in the Division of Research, Community Engagement, and International Collaboration, SSGS Universitas Indonesia. Please welcome Dr. Lin Yola.
Thank you very much, Ms. Siti. Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, Secretary General, Executive Director, Rector, Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Director, Vice Director, distinguished guests, speakers, deans, vice deans, HOPs, partners, our honored participants, ladies and gentlemen. Very good morning and good afternoon to some of you from some other countries. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace and prosperity be upon us all. I would like to welcome you all to the Center for Spatial Data and Analysis, CSDA Webinar Series 4. I'm Dr. Lin Yola, Chairman of CSDA. I'm greatly honored to have this opportunity to chair this event. CSDA is the center that accommodates the spatial database and research programs of School of Strategic and Global Studies, SSGS Universitas Indonesia, with the multidisciplinary and/or inter-transdisciplinary approach. The activities grow significantly since 2015, when SSGS committed with the collaborations with our valued partners, Center for Spatial Information Science, CSIS, University of Tokyo. The activities include the academics, research, and the international collaborations program. We currently use the significant technology, namely GNSS-RTK, using the GNSS TrimbleNet R9. On top of that, with our collaborators, CSIS University of Tokyo and Tumsat University, Japan, we just recently installed the new server of GNSS Madoka PPP. This year, we don't just work behind the wall of the labs, but extending the development into more range of new multidiscipline approach and collaborations with international university partners, government institutions, and private sectors. Besides, we also elevate sharing our significant contributions to academics and non-academics. In that sense, I'm now very proud to be with the honored participants from the wide range of vast expertise. Today, we are proud to have around 600 registered participants, which will continuously join us in both Zoom and YouTube platform today from 14 countries, 45 universities, 23 schools, 32 government institutions, and many more from private sectors. This CSDA Webinar Series 4 brings a special big theme: information technology and innovation in facing strategic and global challenge, 3 countries' perspectives. Besides that, we all aware that information technology and innovation is a must ticket in this industrial revolution 4.0 era. The perspectives of cross nations would definitely pinpoint the alternatives of strategic solutions in facing the global challenge. Precisely. The further significant point is we also try to bridge the dialogue between the government and academic actors. Really, we highly hope that today's discussion would be a celebration of intellectual peace. To Your Excellencies, Honorable Minister Professor Bambang Bojonegoro from Ministry of Research and Technology Indonesia, Honorable Secretary General Datu IR Dr. Siti Hamisa binti Tafsir from Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovations Malaysia, and Honorable Executive Director Mr. Satoshi Kogure from Japan Cabinet Office. It is our great honor to have your valuable time and insights in this online forum. To the University of Tokyo and Director of UCSI University that joining us with the full team today, having your high-profile professors to share their excellent academic talk today is our prodigious honor. Besides, your warm and close collaborations with us makes this event happen today. To distinguished participants, we for sure wish that our meeting in this event could be a start point of future collaborations. To our rector, director, and vice director, thank you for the continued support to all layers of the team to keep the development of the CSDA on the track. Last but not least, I'm really happy to have everyone here today with us. We look forward to continuing this journey with you all. Enjoy today's event. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Lin Yola. Moving on to our next agenda, remarks from Rector of Universitas Indonesia, Profesor Dr. Ari Kuncoro, SE, MM, PhD. Professor Ari Kuncoro, you may take the floor.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Honorable Minister Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, SAM, MUP PhD, Ministry of Research and Technology, Republic of Indonesia. Honorable Minister Khairi Jamaluddin bin Abu Bakar, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI Malaysia. Mr. Satoshi Kogure, Executive Director for QZSS Development, National Space Policy Secretariat, Cabinet Office Japan. Ato Suprodro, PhD, SSGS Director. Abdul Mutali, PhD, SSGS Vice Director. Dr. Lin Yola, CSDA, Chairman of CSDA. Dr. Readiness Manandar, CSIS, the University of Tokyo, Japan. Professor Kurunatan Ratnavelu, Director of Institute of Computer Science and Digital Innovation, UCSI, University of Malaysia. The Honorable UI Vice Chancellor and distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, Universitas Indonesia is a campus that covers wide arrays of scientific disciplines. Through various scientific programs, UI simultaneously strives to be one of the leading research university and the most outstanding academic institution in Indonesia. The School of Strategic and Global Studies, Universitas Indonesia, is leading Universitas Indonesia postgraduate program with multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary approach. SSGS carries forward research innovation to enhance the vision and university. The 20 comprehensive innovative technology-based research is an alternative, effective solution to the complexity of human environmental problems. In today's technological age, the aim of researching higher education needs to provide alternative of strategic solution and a fast and accurate solution to a problem. Therefore, a research agendas at tertiary institution need to build collaboration with stakeholders to get comprehensive solutions. To make it happen, university need an innovative, comprehensive, and collaborative research center. Therefore, the SSGS initiative to form innovative technology-based research Center for Spatial Data Analysis, CSDA, is a significant development to achieve this vision and mission of the university to elevate the innovative research culture. The establishment of CSDA as a research center is believed to significantly accelerate the SSGS and university collaboration agenda. CSDA is expected to accommodate the postgraduate research with multidisciplinary approach at the global level. The CSDA webinar series offers the platform to bring together multi-layer actors in sharing the valuable insight to the public. This webinar series, number 4, that explore the perspectives of 3 countries in developing the information technology and innovation to face strategic and global challenges, is for sure will accomplish a significant contribution to our national and global strategic solution. Today, we are very proud to be meeting with honored partner and guests to have the 4th CSDA webinar series. I am especially grateful to Ministry of Research and Technology, Republic of Indonesia, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, mostly Malaysia, and Japan Space Program Cabinet Office. Also, this webinar is a fresh start for establishing collaboration with wider range of institutions. We always welcome those who have opportunity to work with us. Please enjoy the webinar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Ari Kunchoro. Now we are entering keynote speeches. We are honored to have our excellencies, ministries from 3 countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Japan. Now it is the time for us to have a keynote speech from Ministry of Research and Technology, Republic of Indonesia. Honorable Minister Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, SE, MUP, PhD. Today, Professor Bambang will talk about challenges of downstreaming and commercialization of research outcomes in Indonesian digital economy innovation. Honorable Minister, you may take the floor.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all of you. Honorable Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation of Malaysia, Executive Director for National Space Policy Secretariat Cabinet Office, Japan, Rector, Universitas Indonesia, Vice Chancellor of University of Malaysia, and also distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Let me discuss a little bit in detail about our policy to promote innovation, especially in digital economy. Indonesia needs to shift the paradigm. We used to be a resource-driven economy, and we are still in that kind of situation. But we need to really move to innovation-driven economy in order to fulfill the vision of Indonesia 2045. In 100 years of our independence, we have the ambition to get out of middle-income trap. From upper middle-income country that we are currently in, we have to move to high-income country in 2045. Of course, to get out of middle-income trap is not an easy job. That's why a breakthrough is needed, and that breakthrough is innovation-driven economy. To promote innovation, we need to work in triple helix system. Triple helix is basically the synergy among 3 main actors of innovation: government as regulator and facilitator, academia side, more on the upstream, and industrial side or private sector on the downstream side. Those 3 need to work together in order to make sure the research output can be downstream into industry, and finally into commercialization. So moving to the next page, sometimes the big thing is on the downstream. The next page, please. In which any product, any research output usually stops at prototype level. And then we know the definition of value of that, the gap between the prototype and the market or the users. So in order to make sure the value of that is gone and the gap is reduced, then we need to promote commercialization. So we need to encourage industry to do commercialization of the research output. And then we have to make sure that government can provide the proper business process, especially through their catalog, e-catalog now, what we have. And then at the same time, government needs to have policy to give priority for the innovation that is created by the Indonesians or the researchers in their own country. And moving to the next page, please. What are the strategies for strengthening innovation based on clusterization? First, we have to analyze the demand condition. It means we have to understand what customer needs and what will be the purchasing power of the customer themselves. And then we have to check the availability and the readiness of the industry, because we want the industry to have capability to do the downstreaming and to do industrialization of the research output. And at the same time, we need to check the market condition, especially at the industrial side. We have to make sure that the competition is healthy and the competition will make the price or the cost of production lower. And then at the end of the day, of course, we have to make sure that we have enough support for the inputs, either human resources, capital resources, infrastructure, and also the support from government administration, as well as scientific technological infrastructure, and of course, in the case of Indonesia, natural resources. And then currently, as we know, we are in the pandemic situation, but hopefully soon we are going to, get out of this pandemic, and we have to face the new normal. Of course, this new normal has to be defined different with the old normal. So rather than talking about back to the past, once we are getting out of pandemic, we have to make the new definition back to the future, because we are going to back to the normal condition, but this is new normal, meaning that the new normal reflects the future, while old normal reflects the past. What will be the difference between new normal and old normal? The difference will be on digital transformation. And the digital transformation becomes even more critical. Please move to the next page 6, please. Halaman 6. Yeah. This digital transformation becomes even more critical because current pandemic has created a lot of unemployment. And of course, we have to, once we revitalize the economy, we need to make sure we can reduce this big unemployment. And one way to make sure that we can reduce unemployment actually by implementing what we call less contact economy. Why less contact economy? Because we are still in the pandemic condition. It means we have to follow the strict COVID-19 protocol, keeping the distance and also getting in the healthy situation. And we have to avoid any touch with other people. We need to reduce the direct interaction with other people. But at the same time, we want the economy to be still productive. How can we make our life now healthy and productive? healthy, you follow the protocol. Productive, you implement the digital transformation or less contact economy. Because if we are talking about conventional economic activities, meaning that we do a lot of hyper-connectivity. We do hyper-connectivity among people previously by direct interaction, by negotiation, doing the retail activities. But now we have to substitute all of them with information and communication technology. That's why this pandemic condition is a way to accelerate our digital transformation. Because prior to pandemic, we were already in the revolution, industrial revolution 4.0. We need to basically do the digital transformation. It's rather slow prior to pandemic, but now we need to accelerate this kind of transformation. What kind of digital transformation that we are going to do in the next 5 years? Of course, first is about infrastructure. Infrastructure means broadband expansion, especially the last mile connection. And we have to involve not only fiber optic, but also multifunction satellite in order to make sure this last mile connection. From the government side, we also need to transform ourselves from the conventional government into electronic government. And then we have to make sure the ICT infrastructure will be very well utilized for other activities, especially related to public services, such as education, health, social, agriculture, and now, of course, e-commerce, Industry 4.0 platform, and smart cities. So those are the things that will make the difference between the new normal and the old normal. I believe in the new normal, back to the future, then we are going to see high intensity of ICT infrastructure utilization. And then at the other side, we have to take care about the human resource readiness or capability. We have to strengthen the digital human resources. We have to strengthen the domestic industry itself, as well as we have to increase the technology adoption, especially on two things, big data and IoT. I think big data now becomes the so-called the future gold mine. Whoever rules the big data, they are the one that will get the highest benefit. While IoT is important because we need to solve many things using the IoT approach. And our ambition, of course, this has to be proven, once we heading into that period. In 2045, 100 years of our independence, when we have ambition to be high-income economy or developed economy, one of the foundation for the high-income economy is world-class creative and digital economy. So that would be the Indonesian ambition in 2045. Currently, if you look at our digital readiness index, Indonesia still ranked relatively low, only 73rd, meaning that our digital transformation needs to be strengthened, needs to be accelerated. And then if we look at the components of our digital readiness, clearly the worst is about the business and government investment. And of course, we need to really improve in that area, aside from the basic needs. So we are talking about infrastructure and the system. These are the two that needs really great improvement, plus, of course, the human capital. And then, of course, at the end, we have to make sure the digital economy ecosystem is created. And the ecosystem should help any type of companies from micro, small, up to medium scale. And of course, to support them, the university can support through their research and innovation, but at the same time, they also need the support from private sector in terms of smart logistic, digital platform company, and also the support from the network operators. And we hope that by having this smart logistic and digital platform, they can reach consumer easily with, of course, more competitive price. So this is the complex system, but the most important thing is to make sure the companies can get the source of innovation from the first hand, from the universities, and the company can also get easy market access through the support of digital platform and reach customer easily with, again, the lower price. So for the benefit of the consumers themselves. There are 5 pillars to support Indonesia's technology transformation. The first one I've mentioned about infrastructure and the importance of innovation institution, awareness of new technology business value. This is awareness for people in majority. Third, technological transfer and technical support for the company. Because again, the company needs to be competitive. In order to be competitive, they need to really adapt to the digital transformation and getting the technology transfer needed. And then low-cost plug-and-play technology for companies. Not all companies are ready for advanced and complicated technology. Instead, they are looking for low-cost technology and easy to use, user-friendly. And the fifth would be the needs to labor to understand about the technology itself. So we are talking about the quality of the labors. Aside from, of course, the needs of technician or the needs of programmer or engineer in the digital economy, the most important thing to bring digital economy into serious business is entrepreneurship. And it's very unfortunate, Indonesia is still low in terms of the numbers and of course the quality also of the entrepreneurs. We can see US is way above there, and that's why they are the still biggest economy in the world. But Indonesia only ranked 94, and of course our neighbor Malaysia now ranked 43. Sorry, Indonesia now 75, still below Malaysia, Thailand, and of course Singapore. So at the end, entrepreneur is very much needed in this digital era because we need to really create more entrepreneurs in order Indonesia to be a high-income country. One characteristic of any developed economy in the world is the number and quality of their entrepreneurs. That's why our ministry support the startup program called Startup Inovasi Indonesia. And this startup is defined, is basically small, medium enterprise based on technology. So they can do any type of business as long as they are using the technology. That's why we call it startup, and we provide the program to help the potential startup to write the proposal first, to create their business ideas, and after policing the ideas, especially the ideas related to the technology that they are going to promote, then we give them incubation process to create the startup itself, to create the company itself. Once they created the company, then they need to be ready for scale up. Scale up means they have to try to find out the potential investors to make their companies bigger. So of course, they have to be ready to talk to private equities, venture capitals, and they have to be, they have to get the trust from the financial sector. That's basically the scale up. And of course, from 5 years experience supporting the startup, at least there are already some startup that having the good business, like I think satay with that could last for 6 months without preservatives. And also there is a fishery marketplace that really helps our fishermen to sell their products, fresh products, directly to the final consumers, supermarkets, restaurants, and others. And also one innovation from University of Indonesia itself, the flat plate ship. And I think this is another technology breakthrough. So how can we really create the startup in the very competitive environment? Of course, they need to get the support from higher education institution. University is very potential because the potential startup, the individual, usually come from universities, from the students. The students have the idea, and after that, they need to be, groomed through incubation process by the incubators. And incubators could be anybody. University could be incubator, private sector as well. And then, of course, they need to get interaction and support from the industry, because sometimes they need to really scale up the process, the production, and they need to work together with the industry. For financing, they need to get the support from venture capital, because venture capital is the appropriate type of financial institution that could support startup, that could understand about the nature of the startup. And then community, I believe, is also as important, because then any startup that gets support from their community usually can be successful. And of course, startup association, and then they can exchange among them about how to survive, because startup business actually is very severe. The winners takes it all. So it means the competition is very stiff. And of course, exchanging of knowledge, exchanging of experience will be very critical. So what are specifically the role of higher education in Industry 4.0? Number one is skills. There is no question about that. Science. Skills and science, of course, is very much needed in order to do the digital transformation and making Indonesia and any country in the world adaptive to the Industrial 4.0. And then the mindset. Mindset means you as a teacher, as a professor, you can teach the student about skills, about science, but the most important thing about the mindset. Mindset means rather than just being technical workers or just programmers, then we need to put the mindset that startup or entrepreneur is an option. Innovation has to be first before we are thinking about bigger business. And then, of course, university needs to promote collaboration. University needs to connect potential startup with industries, potential startup with other higher education institutions in order to strengthen their technology. So I hope this webinar can give us better ideas on how to bring innovation into business and how university can produce more entrepreneurs, especially in startup. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Bambang, for the insightful keynote speech. As Professor Bambang would like to leave this event due to another presidential duty, now we will have photo session. Distinguished speakers, discussants, and everyone, please turn on the camera. Ms. Kiki, please lead the photo session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a picture. 1, 2, 3, smile. Next shoot. 1, 2, 3. Next shoot. 1, 2, 3. And the last one. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Professor Bambang, may I leave the event? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Now we will have our next keynote speech from Secretary General, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation Malaysia, Honorable Datuk IR Dr. Siti Hamisah binti Tafsir. Today, Datuk Siti will talk about high-tech Malaysia, a way forward. To Datuk Siti, you may take the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Siti. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. Respective Professor Ari Kunchoro, Vice Chancellor, Universitas Indonesia, Mr. Satoshi Kogure, Executive Director, QZSS Development, National Space Policy, Secretariat Cabinet Office, Japan, Your Excellencies, Professors, and ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and very good morning once again. Thank you, the Center for Special Data Analysis, CSDA, UCSI University, School of Strategy and Global Studies, Universitas Indonesia, and University of Tokyo for successfully joining 3 countries and 3 universities across the Asia-Pacific region in this CSDA webinar series. COVID-19 is unprecedented crisis. Despite the tolls to human lives, the pandemic forces us to be upfront with many other consequences, from economic recessions aggravated by looming inequality, mental health epidemic, and complete restructuring and re-engineering of our physical and societal norms. Despite this, the greatest existential threat of our generation has been met with demonstration of overwhelming solidarity between nations and communities working together to address the impact and challenges of the new norm. Necessity is the mother of new innovations. The disruptions and the new norms has accelerated the long due technological tsunami, and Malaysia is no exception. Malaysia aspires to be a high income, and being a high tech nation is our only way. As we are coming to learn from the far-reaching stifling effects of COVID-19, our vision must be met with not only strong technological adoption, but also adaptation by deploying local innovation, talent, and digital readiness, as highlighted by the Minister just now. Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation is committed to drive this high-tech nation agenda. If you have been following the news lately, you should have seen some of the Malaysian government's initiatives to accelerate our path to recovery through a National Science, Technology and Innovation, or STI agenda, where MOSTI is the custodian. The National Science Council, chaired by the Prime Minister in July, has also endorsed the National Policy on Science, Technology and Innovation, DISTIN 2021-2030. The National Science Council has also deliberated on the 10 on 10 STI and economics framework, which integrates 10 technological drivers and 10 socioeconomic drivers to raise the dynamic capability that is absorptive, adaptive, and innovative capabilities of the Malaysian economy. This sound framework will provide a systematic approach to transform Malaysia into a knowledge-intensive economy, generate shared economic prosperity across the diverse ecosystem in the country, manage public health pandemics and economic volatilities, and be globally competitive by 2030. The framework is also suited to strategize government's investment with strategic niche areas for demand-driven basic and applied R&D. I would also like to share some of the key initiatives the government of Malaysia is implementing to maneuver our way during this unprecedented time. Through the Malaysian government Ringgit Malaysia 35 billion Penjana Economic Recovery Plan, we are focused on unleashing STI to drive 3 main causes: empowering the people, propelling businesses, and stimulating the economy. A high-tech nation must be founded on high-tech people. Hence, MOSTI has geared up our investment on aspiring entrepreneurs, agile startups, and companies that epitome using technology to solve our daily problems and improve well-being of our society, the de facto agents of innovation in the country. Our Ringgit Malaysia 1.2 billion Dana Penjana National Fund aims to improve our economy through business digitalization, as in the case of Indonesia and many other countries. And Ringgit Malaysia 600 million has been set aside to boost the development of startups, just a second, and the local venture capital ecosystem. We have also allocated 315 ringgit million Malaysian in financial aid to help them navigate the disruptions caused by COVID-19. We realized early in the pandemic that the new norm is the high time to accelerate local technology deployment. Through MOSTI's flagship initiative, RM100 million ringgit funded National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, or NTIS, we aim to improve the development and accessibility of advanced technologies that are pivotal to countries' progress. To date, NTIS has received over 1,500 applications spanning key sectors such as healthcare, agriculture, financial services, manufacturing, education, smart cities, and many more. We have also allocated substantial amount for the My Hackathon 2020 program, which brings together the might of aspiring entrepreneurs to find creative solutions to improve government-selected services affected by COVID-19. Through the program, we are not only hacking our chances of finding innovative solutions, but also building an ecosystem where beginners and experts can gain vital exposure to mature. In addition, the Malaysia Commercialization Year (MCY) initiative since 2016 has accelerated commercialization of more than 300 local R&D from government research institutions, academia, and grassroots communities into the market, and is now entering its third phase, MCY Going Global. As for the role of education in driving high-tech agenda, all the initiatives I have provided before won't be possible without participation of talents churned out from our universities and higher learning institutions. However, education is beyond any institution with the concept of lifelong learning. The advent of new norm and consequently the technologies enabling productivity and economy to keep grinding, such as automation and robotics, have affected jobs in many sectors. This is where we see upskilling and reskilling are important to allow talents to fill the vacancy created by new technology deployments across many sectors. I was fortunate to witness this transition firsthand when our Honorable Minister launched the Red Beat Academia by AirAsia. AirAsia, through its academy partners with global and started to upskill and reskill their staff whose jobs are affected by the pandemic to be adapt with the skills of the future. It was inspiring to see cabin crews, pilots, security officers being upskilled into software engineers, data scientists, and user interface designers. How the academy is open to the public with focus to breed industry ready and problem solvers. Micro-credentials and reskilling have been the new norm, and this pushes universities to rethink the value of education offered. To be honest, I would say the way forward is very, very interesting and challenging, not only for Malaysia, but for the whole world to chart a new way to recover and to reset economies to be future-ready and future-proof. Amidst this assignment, we must bear in our minds to use technology for inclusive and sustainable growth. This is where the compassion and empathy go hand in hand with the effective change in in technology. In this pandemic-ridden world and the state of the digital divide that we have now, governments across the world have worked hard, I believe, to ensure the benefits of technology and innovation do not leave anyone behind. In this line of thinking, MOSTI is also supporting social businesses that embark on innovative journeys to benefit the society and to improve the environment and livelihood of the people. Through the Social Impact Matching Grant or SIM grant, we are helping social innovators to sustain their initiatives and programs via a one-to-one grant matching mechanism for successful crowdfunding initiative. SIM grant works with a Ringgit Malaysia 10 million budget and prioritizes initiatives across 5 impact areas, such as food security, community livelihood, health and social well-being, environment protection, and heritage preservation. I've shared our Malaysian experience and aspiration, and I hope it'll be the basis of our students here when they step out and discover how they can make the world a better place. I hope this trend of inclusiveness and technological advancement will bring the best from all of us. Last but not least, congratulations to the Center for Spatial Data Analysis, School of Strategic and Global Studies, Universitas Indonesia, UCSI University, and University of Tokyo to have shown the zeal and passion to organize this series of webinars. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining this virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, Datuk Siti, for the enlightening keynote speech. Now, last but not least, we will have keynote speech from Executive Director for QZSS Development, National Space Policy Secretariat, Japan, Honorable Mr. Satoshi Kogure. Mr. Kogure today will talk about high accuracy positioning and EWS from QZSS for spatial planning and disaster management. Mr. Kogure, you may take the floor.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very well, Mr. Kogure.
Okay, thank you very much for your kind introduction to me. So, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests and participants, I'd like to express my gratitude for inviting me to this prestigious opportunity to introduce our Japanese satellite navigation system and its applications to you. Today, I would like to talking about high accuracy positioning and early warning services from QGSS and disaster management applications. Yes, so I'm touching briefly the overview of our system, then talk about the future expansion to 7 satellite constellation. Then I'd like to focus on high accuracy positioning and early warning service function on our system. And finally, briefly touching about the disaster management applications we are now investigating and summarizing my talk. Yes, this is the overview of our system. QuadZen satellite system is a regional satellite navigation system composed of 4 satellites at this moment. 1 geosynchronous satellite locating on the 127 eastern longitude, and 3 inclined geosynchronous orbit satellite we called as QuadZen orbit satellite. And ground control segment, 2 master control stations in Hitachi Ota and Kobe in Japan. And there are lots of ground supporting facilities, tracking control station, which has antennas to a connection with satellite and ground control segment, and more than 30 monitoring stations around the world, so to create the satellite navigation message and error correction message through the satellite. We are providing 3 main functional capabilities. The first one, GPS complementary. This is the fundamental basic function of a satellite navigation system, providing ranging signals. And so the second function is GNSS augmentation. This function is providing error corrections to improve the GPS and other GNSS positioning and navigation, the timing and accuracy and reliability. In addition, we have the messaging servicing function. It will be used for the disaster relief management operation. The coverage of the system performance will cover Asia and the Pacific region. But according to the augmentation services we are providing now, it's only covers the Japan and surrounding area. But we are now investigating expansion of the augmentation service in the Asia Pacific region. Currently, the experimental service is being provided now. Sorry. This is our program schedule, a roadmap. So currently we are providing services since November 1st, 2018 by using the 4 satellite constellation. Next launch will come in 2021. So the replacement satellite first one will be launched. And we are now planning to expand our infrastructure for 7 satellite constellations around 2023. Next slide show you our 7 satellite constellations. So we will put additional 3 satellites. So this coordinate satellite number 6, geosynchronous orbit over Indian Ocean, as well as in the Pacific Ocean, number 7 satellite will be launched, and additional 1 satellite put inclined geosynchronous orbit satellite. Then we will cover Asia Pacific region for independent PNT capability provision for Japan and Eastern Asian region. So this is one example for the visibility in Indonesia at Jakarta. So you can see that after 2023, 7 satellite constellation compression, so that you can observe 6 satellites every time. So get the good the geometry for the dot value, so that you can utilize our system for the independent source of position and navigation timing application. Of course, you can utilize with other GNSS, especially the urban canyon in the city, in the mountain. So our satellite complements the other GNSS, so you can get more better performance with combination utilize of other GNSS and QGSS. Now I'd like to focus on high accuracy positioning and EWS. So we have augmentation services currently operational services, CRAS and SRAS. SRAS is so the differential code phase positioning, and the CRAS is a carrier phase positioning. It can provide centimeter level accuracy positioning, but this CRAS service for the domestic and Japan only. But we are planning to expand our high accuracy service in the Asia Pacific region with the PPP, precise point positioning, error correction message distribution. PPP uses a state space representative correction product such as precise satellite orbit clocks and signal biases. QGSS is providing sort of Madoka PPP in Asia Pacific region at this moment as a sort of experimental signal, but we are now planning to upgrade this experimental signal to the operational one around 2023. This is a system architecture. So the CRAS is utilizing so the Japanese cores network. But on the other hand, so the PPP, so we need so the global distributing monitoring station to estimate satellite orbit clock offset very, very precisely. So the next couple of slides showed you so the difference between the CRAS service and Madoka PPP. So the very wide area service coverage, and sub-meter level, also decimeter level performance could be expected. Current the performance level for the CRAS, this is a very good performance in Japan, and also we are testing the PPP as an experimental service. This is in Japan and in the overseas area. Yeah, you can see that we could get already decimeter performance. I would like to make a note, mention about convergence time for the PPP services. So PPP theoretically need some convergence time to get the final positioning accuracy. So we are now around 20 or 30 minutes conversation time. And so next slide shows our disaster mitigation short messaging services called as early warning services. So at this moment, the Japanese domestic service called as disaster crisis report, DC report, relays weather information issued by Japanese meteorological agency. Once per 4 seconds, sharing L1S SRA service, 250 bit per second message transmission. This is a schematic architecture. So the JMA create disaster related information such as the tsunami, volcanic eruption, weather warning, and so on. So the system ground segment relays this message and merging L1S signal to provide once a 4 second short code messaging. Decoding a message so the receiver and the handset recognize the target area for the message and the pop-up screen making the noise and to aware the warning to the legends. We are investigation that this early warning service expansion to the Asia Pacific region. I would like to make note, so there are some constraints, so that very limited bandwidth for the satellite-based early warning service. We should solve some challenges. So the first one is establish the prioritizing rules which all stakeholders agreed in advance of disaster happens. This is not technically but a very important aspect for the expansion of this kind of services. And we are now need a more effective way to send early warning service message. We are creating a common standardized message format, and we are investigating integrated with other measures such as a ground communication link, like a low power wide area network. This is one suggestion, one example system architecture for the disaster mitigation and management with using QGIS high accuracy positioning early warning service function and ground low power wide area network. So you can see that our system contribute to resilience of distribution of early warning. With integrating the combined the ground communication link. So the low power wide area has characteristics low power and low capacity, but the wide range of coverage. So it can relay the early warning message outside of a damaged area. And one aspect for our contribution, so our high accuracy positioning error correction message can be used for the GNSS sensors like tsunami buoy and to detect wave height and the river height for the flood alert, as well as other land slip sensors. So this kind of application will be more detailed explained at Professor Dinesh presentation. And finally, so I would like to touch with briefly the current available receivers chipset for QGIS use. So recently, the most of smartphone latest chipset has already the QGIS support function. Recently, a dual band GNSS smartphone, so it can contribute to the improve the accuracy. And for the augmentation service, some product has been already sold in the market. So please visit for our website. So list of a product can be shown in our site. Finally, I would like to summarize my presentation. QGIS is a Japanese regional navigation satellite system to improve not only GNSS availability, but also accuracy and reliability. So we have the error correction message transmission capability. And now we are deploying our system to the 7 satellite constellation, targeting the launch date around 2023. Augmentation signals provide high accuracy positioning. It is expected the Madoka PPP would be operational around 2023 in Asia Pacific region. In addition, early warning service will contribute resilient disaster alert distributions. It is being investigated to expand also into Asia Pacific region. Such so the capability, the high accuracy positioning and early warning service function can contribute to disaster mitigation and management operation. Thank you very much your kind attention. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Terima kasih kembali. Thank you, Mr. Kogure, for the insightful speech. Thank you, Excellencies, for the keynote speeches. Due to another ministry duty, Honorable Secretary General Datuk Siti would like to leave the event. Thank you, Datuk Siti. It is our honor to have you in our event.
Thank you very much, Datuk Siti.
Now we are entering webinar. It is the webinar 4. The webinar 1, 2, 3, we had it last month. And today's webinar will be led by our moderator, Dr. Hendrikus Andi Simarmata. He is a lecturer of Urban Studies Department, SSGS Universitas Indonesia. Before welcoming our moderator, please kindly be noted that for participants who would like to raise questions regarding the live discussion, please post your questions on the chat room. Now, please welcome Dr. Hendrikus.
Yeah, thank you, Siti, for the introductions. Very good morning, the participants and also our distinguished speakers. I think now we have time to get more closer discussions about what we are trying to understand about the future technology itself. We have, this morning, we have already heard from our honorable speakers. We have our Honorable Minister Prof. Bambang, and also Honorable Datuk Siti Hamisa and Honorable Satoshi Kogure-san about what, let me give a brief interpretation on their presentation, at least also from the opening of our UI Rector, Prof. Ari Kunchoro, that this is a time for us to unite and also to optimize our knowledge about the digitalization itself. We need to accelerate, but of course we need to prepare not only our technological device, but also our human resources. And that's where I think the universities and higher education can play a significant role and contribute to the advancement of this development. So we have now 3 discussions here. We have Dr. Ator from SKSG UI from University of Indonesia, Prof. Kurunatan from UCSI Malaysia, and Prof. Readiness from CSIS Tokyo University. 3 speakers will, let's say, talk about, Prof. Ator will talk about the digital economic challenges, and Prof. Kurunatan will talk about the human resources challenges. And then we can hear also from Prof. Readiness about what we can expect from the technology in the case of early warning system, in the case of disaster management. So let us give them space to share what they thought. Maybe each of one will have about 15 minutes, so then we can have time for more time for discussion. So let me give the floor first to Pak Ator, Dr. Ator. He will deliver his presentation about facing digital economic challenges. Prof. Ator, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hendrikus Simarmata. Thank you, everyone. And good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will share my presentation. I hope that my materials will last less than 15 minutes. Okay, I will share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen right now?
Yeah,
Dr. Henry? Okay. Great, thank you all again for having me. I will, of course, send my gratitude to all speakers and our attendants for this webinar. I like to talk about facing digital economy challenges in Indonesia, as it's already set up by the this webinar stream. Okay, this is, I think, will become our agenda. First, we will talk about overview, condition overview of Indonesian, and then challenge and opportunity, strategies and expectation. First of all, the overview, we will see the Indonesian retail sales year on year, the data, Indonesia consumer confidence, ease of doing business in Indonesia, Indonesia balance of trade, and Indonesian tourism revenue. This overview, I think, is critical for our development, for our next development, how we can cope better with the current situation, current pandemic situation, combining with the digital economic growth. Well, Indonesian retail sales year on year until now, fortunately, our sales increase. It's a kind of good news, I think. Increase 1.3% in Augustus over the previous month. And we can see here the kind of a cyclical condition about the retail sales year on year. In the beginning of the pandemic, the retail sales hit very much, about minus 7.5, and then going up and down until last month. We grew positively at the 1.3%. I think this is positive news from our market. Next, however, until now, consumer confidence in Indonesia, this is important to see from the perspective of our customer in Indonesia, that Indonesia Consumer Confidence Index still declining from the trend, positive trend actually before the pandemic. However, in time of this difficult situation, our consumer confidence index still declining, declined 3.5 points from the previous month to 83.4 in September 2020. Maybe it is caused by the authorities of the big cities like Jakarta to reimpose partial coronavirus-related lockdown again, a measure in Indonesia. And it is also followed by the peripheral city as a satellite city in Indonesia. So maybe it has impact in declining the Indonesia Customer Confidence Index. Comparing to our beloved neighbor like Malaysia, confidence index more or less is the same, but we can see that in Malaysia, consumer index is growing fast, and in Indonesia, we still decline. Then this is also important to grow our business, and that still doing business in Indonesia is difficult. we still in the rank of 73 around in these 2 years. So we have a very stable condition, but not really positive rank in 73. Compared to Malaysia, Malaysia have a far better rank, which is around 13 among 190 economies. So Indonesia is only ranked in 73 in this is doing according to the latest World Bank annual ratings. The rank of Indonesia remain unchanged. And then this is like I think our government is still trying to make a breakthrough. I think for coping this situation to make everyone easier in doing business in Indonesia. As you may hear loud that our government launched a newly enacted law. It's called Omnibus Law, but it seems that have modeling through process to implement in a few next time. And then we can see also the other indicators that Indonesia balance of trade. This is also a good news, I think, from Indonesia, that Indonesia posted a trade surplus in a 5 consecutive month, which is in the September, we have a trade surplus 2.44 USD billion, and swinging from USD 0.2 billion gap in the same month of the previous year and beating market consensus. So market consensus predict that Indonesia trade surplus is only around USD 2 billion, but we can beat this projection. This was the 5th straight month actually of surplus in trade balance, mainly due to the plants in imports. So our import is plants amid the coronavirus pandemic, I think. Export fell 0.61% over a year early to USD 14.1 billion, mainly due to lower sales of oil and gas product, which is minus 12.4%. While non-oil export rose 0.21%, and imports tumbled 18.8% over a year earlier to USD 11.5 billion. As a purchase of both oil and gas down minus 26.3%, and non-oil and gas minus 17.9% plunge. Considering these first 9 months of the year, the trade recorded as a surplus of USD 13.51 billion, shifting from USD to 0.24 billion gap in the same period in 2019. Yes, and this is, I think, good news. A few good news from Indonesia that we have still a balance of trade to support our exchange rates, I think, rupiah. Then the important things also is about how to develop Indonesian tourism revenues. Still, tourism is a sector that hit very hard in terms of because of this pandemic, COVID-19, which is though our tourism revenue decreased to 88.4 USD million in the second quarter of 2020. From, imagine that, from almost 3,000 USD million in the first quarter of 2020. So this is very deep down of the tourism revenue in Indonesia. This is bad news, I think, but we like to cope with this situation. We hope that in a few next year, after COVID, end of the COVID-19, the tourism industry will bounce back faster. And maybe to make a connection between our micro condition and the digital condition in the world. By October 2020, current update from the wearesocial.com, we can observe that our total world population is around 7.8 billion people. And number of our people using mobile phone around the world is around 66.6% population, which is 5.2 billion. So it's a huge number. Half of the world population connect with a mobile phone. So the global internet users around 60%, counted 4.66 billion, and the user of the social media on the worldwide around 63%. It's around in the 4 billion people. So this is a huge number. I think that this create an opportunity for the business to still create revenue from the internet. And then the other fact, the other situation about the growth, we can see the growth that the number of people using social media around the world has grown to, as already mentioned before, 4.14 billion in October, this October 2020, with the figure passing the momentous 4 billion user milestone for the first time this quarter. And some analysis shows that more than 460 million people started using social media. So this also creates the opportunity, I think. Started using social media over the past 12 months, equating to annual growth of more than 12%. So we have growth more than 12% in terms of active social media users. That means that an average of more than 14 people started using social media every second since this time last year, which is even higher than the rate we saw last quarter. Indeed, the latest data shows that social media growth is actually accelerating. More than 180 million more people use social media between July and September compared to the previous 3 months, equating to an average increase of almost 2 million users per day. So this is also a huge number, and of course will create another strategic market penetration. And what about the daily time that we spend with the media? You see that social media accounts for more than 1/3 of our connected time, with people now spending an average of almost 2.5 hours per day on social platforms. So each of us, internet user, using connected to the social media almost more than 2 hours a day. So this is a huge amount of time, I think, what we can spend for social media. Added together, this means that the world now spend more than 10 billion hours per day using social media, which equate to more than 1 million years of human existence, actually. And then we have also been spending more time watching television. And the worst, internet users know what's a combined average of 3.5 hours. Imagine that we spend average 3.5 hours of TV content per day across broadcast station, cable channels, and internet-powered streaming platform, Netflix, etc. Our TV behaviors are changing though, with streaming service accounting for an increasingly important share of total TV time. So this is also will create our business, how to make a advertising strategy to reach their customer, how to use the social media. Next. Which one of the social platform that people use in this world? The first is Facebook and YouTube, WhatsApp, and we can see in your screen, I think. However, we see stronger growth for social platform. Almost all of the world top social platforms show strong audience growth over the past 3 months. And Instagram, for instance, added the greatest number of new users. They have a lot of new users between July and September 2020, posting even stronger growth figures than Facebook, actually. For context, Facebook global advertising audience grew by just 45 million during the same period, although it's a total advertising audience of 14 billion. Is still almost twice the size of Instagram. However, if Instagram can maintain similar momentum over the coming weeks, there is a good chance that the platform will overtake WeChat and host the world fifth largest social media audience sometime in 2021, maybe. Okay, then how can organization business can reach their customer? And this is also, I think, good news that the cost per mile to reach 1,000 people is decreasing time by the time. People click on a significantly greater number of ads between April and July 2020 than they did in the same period a year before. So this year, they do a lot of clicks. Then the total number of clicks on social media ads in the second quarter of this year was 33%, higher than quarter 2 2019 levels. While clicks on search ads increased by 28%. And what's more, the cost of individual ads units actually decreased. We can see actually decreased significantly during the same period. The average cost to reach 1,000 people via social media ads fell by 30% between quarter 2 2019 last year until quarter 2 2020, when the average cost per click on search engine fell by 29%. So, what is our challenge? And if we discuss challenge, then we have to also provide the opportunities. Well, we can see that the main challenge that Indonesian government or us is to make doing business easier. It's, I think, under the government effort right now, and also how to make our customer confidence in a rise. This is also an effort, a lot of effort from our government to push this confidence to support the fulfillment of their basic needs and also to make our customer confidence in higher level. And of course, our tourism industry is still facing a huge challenge. We hope earlier next year, after the pandemic COVID-19 go away, then our tourism industry will bounce back very fast. And we still have the opportunities that indeed we have a surplus in value states. It shows maybe we have internally stronger than before. We hope that situation. And then still we have positive trend in retail sales. And then we have also better internet availability throughout Indonesia. Currently government try to enlarge the coverage of internet, so every people in Indonesia can better connected to the internet. This is also good news, I think, from the business entity, which is become a new huge market. And we see around 50% of population in Indonesia using internet. It means almost triple from Malaysia or Japan, I think, which is we have almost 130 million users in Indonesia. So it's a huge market, I think. And then getting cheaper to reach a customer to internet. Cost per mile is around 4.33 US. Okay, what is the strategy? The three strategies that we can take, I think, in common. What's the search engine? So more than 2/3 of the world's internet users already go beyond search engine. So every day we go Googling. So we expect next we have a voice search, not by typing in the Google, but voice search, image search, and social search to play an even more important role over the coming months. And then rebalancing of digital audience demographic, with COVID-19 acting as a catalyst to bring many more older people online. Organization can now use digital to reach a wider variety of audiences than ever before. This represents a clear and immediate opportunity for marketers, especially when it comes to e-commerce. However, this broadening of online audience may also trigger a new wave of digital innovation, resulting in new platform, new service, and even new devices. And then ready for globalization in e-commerce. The latest data suggests that China's e-commerce giants are gaining even more popularity amongst international shoppers because of the price, maybe. And what's more, with affordable cross-border logistics increasingly with even for small merchants, we can expect to see shoppers looking for deals and unique products wherever the web takes them. Scale will still be an advantage, but unique offerings and differentiated shopping experience hold the key to enduring success. So, what's our expectation for the next year? This is, I think, my last presentation. Yes, of course, we hope that COVID-19 go away faster, and what we can expect is what's the new disruption after COVID-19? I think COVID-19 become the real disruptor for our business and for our life today. But we have to prepare for the new disruption after COVID-19. What is that? Maybe we can also guess. And then new customer behavior, customer new behavior. Because, because of this COVID-19, we have current new normal with new behavior and etc. So we have to take consider seriously about the change of the new behavior. Okay, Dr. Hendrikus Cimarmata, thank you for the time. That's all my presentation, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Pak Ator, for your sharpening presentation, yeah, especially on how you shed lights on key challenges of Indonesian perspective on this new era. Yeah, I think it's not only about the decreasing in economic, especially in tourism, like you just present, but also the new opportunity, I think, from our society, let's say, to prepare the business scheme, new business scheme, and how to optimize the advancing digital infrastructures. But I think one small clarification from Prof. Guru to your slide, I think, before I leave the floor to Prof. Guru Nathan, is about ease of doing business. I think this is also indicators that become one of the reason why Indonesian government push or endorse the law of Omnibus Law. So he asked about the sampling size of the ease of doing business. Do you have any information related to that, Prof. Ator?
Yeah, actually, this is the rank coming from World Bank, actually. We just present the data that our index rank is situated in the 73. Compared to Malaysia, actually, they situated at the 13. So this is the data coming from the World Bank.
Is it annually, yeah? If I'm not mistaken?
Yes, annually. Yeah. Yes.
Okay then. And then I will give time for Professor Guru Nathan. Prof. Guru, as you may also heard from Prof. Ator, yeah, I think the importance now how Indonesian society, and also I think in Malaysia and other countries to prepare their community to have not only digital literacy, so to speak, yeah, but also the entrepreneurship. So then they can also take benefit for themselves to entering this new digital society. And your presentation today is also talk about the human resources. So we'd like to know more about how do you perceive and how your thoughts on these human resources challenges. So, Prof. Guru, the time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Hendrikus, and very good speech, very good presentation, Prof. Arturo. I like to thank the organizers, SSGI, as well as CSDA for this invitation. Selamat tengah hari to all the Indonesian sahabat-sahabat dan saudari. I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing it correctly. Konnichiwa to our Japanese friends who are with us today. Now, this topic is quite a broad area. So, and I wouldn't say I'm an expert in this area. Nevertheless, I had to do this in the last couple of weeks, and I used certain available data. We have seen in 2020, billions of human lives have been affected by the pandemic. And we would have gone to the dark ages if not for the convergence of information technology and telecommunication. In a way, I mean, many hundreds, many thousands of lives have been lost. But I think the mankind has moved to a new milestone, which would involve the way we do things. I'm tempted, Hendrikus, I'm tempted to talk too much. So let me know, give me a 5-minute warning. And I try to follow within the context of my presentation. I've broken into 3 parts. Will you have a job in 2030? Malaysia's preparedness for IR 4.0, big data status of Malaysia in 2020. I will discuss some comparison with Indonesia in the second part of my talk. Will you have a job in 2030? That is scary, especially to my children who are just coming out of university into the graduating class of 2020 and the future looking very bleak. For years, we have heard dire warnings that technology poses a threat to millions of workers' jobs. But during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen that technology can enable human work and the work of the future. I based this section on an article, on a report by Dell Technologies and the Institute of the Future. And it's forecasting the emerging technologies' impact on work in the next era of human-machine partnership. It's easily available on the webpage. It forecasts that there'll be 3 shifts to 2030. Inclusive talent. Candidates will be hired based on their capabilities rather than gender, age, or class, dramatically boosting talent and inclusivity at work. And I think I'd like to address that. Most of my students at University of Malaya and at UCSI are mostly females. So I think the 21st century will be the century for the females. 67% of leaders expect to use new technologies to remove human bias in decision making. Workers will be more empowered than ever before through real-time collaboration practices and technology. We are already seeing in practice in 2020. AI fluency. Now, this is the challenge. A deep understanding of AI and human and machine systems will set workers apart. AI, my question, my comment, which I don't think I have the time to do this today, AI in universities of emerging countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, and others. And this is some aspect that must be undertaken in preparing for the advent of humanoids probably in 2050. Jobs to be automated. What about your job? Majority of the jobs which will be stable will be CEOs, financial advisors, teachers, human resources, care resource plant operators, and so forth, 48%. New roles, robotic engineers, innovation professionals, solution designers, people and cultural specialists. What roles will become redundant? Data entry clerks, even accountants. I'm very surprised. This may affect the business schools in many universities. Delivery drivers, lawyers, factory workers, door-to-door salesmen, postal service clerks, telemarketers. Others. By 2022, some jobs will be redundant. We're already seeing the impact of the pandemic has already created a high percentage of unemployment, not only in Indonesia, in Malaysia, and many developed countries. Here's a full list. You could easily find it from the World Economic Forum, Futures of Job Survey 2018. You just have to Google that, you could find this information, especially those of you who are interested to find what sort of careers you need to enter and retrain. The second topic which I would like to focus is Malaysia's preparedness for IR 4.0. And as one interesting participant said, should we be talking about IR 5.0? In fact, whenever I have a chance, I like to talk about beyond IR 4.0 because IR 4.0 has come and hit us like an avalanche and left many of the emerging countries thinking, what happened? In January 2018, the World Economic Forum, in collaboration with A.T. Kearney, released its first Readiness for the Future of Production report 2018. That was the reason why they looked at future production in the context of IR 4.0. What is our readiness to face the fourth IR? Would our economics be resilient enough to meet the challenges ahead? And this report has come up with some interesting insights, which baffles me. The data-driven readiness for the future of production analyzes how well-positioned countries are today to shape and benefit from the changing nature of production in the future. Readiness is generally regarded as the ability to capitalize on future production opportunities, mitigate risk and challenges, and resilient and agile in responding to unknown future shocks. As we'll see later on in figure 1, I will show you that. But what's interesting is 100 countries and economics were studied in a type of what was called a drivers of production and a structure of production, which is available in the report. And the assessment comprised 59 indicators across the drivers of production. And there's also a country report, which I'm unable to give, but if it's easy, if you want to share with me, you can always email me. What was interesting is the 25 leading countries already accounted for 75% of the global manufacturing value added and are well positioned to increase their share in the future. The 25 leading countries in alphabetical order: Austria, Belgium, Canada, China, Czech Republic. And I was happy. I was delighted to see Malaysia was ranked 22nd. Of course, the smaller countries like Singapore are very agile. Of course, we can't compete with the developed countries like Japan, United States, and others. And what do they mean by leading countries? They classified 4 different countries. Leading countries with a strong production base today that exhibit a high level of readiness for the future through strong performance across the drivers of production component. And these countries also have the most current economic value at stake for future disruptions. Legacy countries with a strong production base today that are at risk for the future due to weaker performance across the drivers of production. It's very interesting when you look at the legacy countries. High potential countries with limited production base scored well across the drivers of production component, indicating the capacity exists to increase production in the future depending on priorities within the national economy. Nascent countries, countries with a limited production base today that exhibit a low level of readiness for the future through weak performance across the drivers. This is a table part of the table 1, which shows the countries. The graph here, the drivers of production graph here, would show you the leading countries. Malaysia is somewhere here. High potential, legacy, and nascent countries, and of course broken down into various geographical region. In structure of production, we scored 6.81, which is ranked 20, and for drivers of production, we were ranked 22. Malaysia was 22. Of course, the smaller countries. The legacy countries are countries like Hungary, India, Thailand, among others. High potential countries which may be able to develop forward. And the nascent countries are here, and Indonesia scored 5.41, a rank of 38 in the structure of production, and a score of 4.89 as driver of production, rank 59. There are gaps and there are thresholds to cross. Unfortunately, the pandemic has thrown a spanner into the trajectory plans, especially the economic trajectory plans, like countries like Malaysia and Indonesia. Okay, due to the interest in IR 4.0 and beyond, I wanted to give you the big data status of Malaysia as reported in September 2020 by an organization. Just to give you an idea of, I lost count of the zeros now. I thought I knew petabyte or exabyte, but I didn't realize there's something with 21 zeros, and that is called a zettabyte. I just wanted to share this particular, and that's the challenge. Big data and the data information that going to encompass is completely going to be bewildering and a challenge to all of us. I based this part of my report, my presentation on Malaysia's AI Blueprint Annual Report 2020. It's produced by a company called Disruptive Tech Institute, and they just had the conference Big IT 2020, a virtual conference which I attended. 150 organizations from the private sector and government participated in the survey, and they are broken down into the following industry verticals. It covered pretty well: agriculture to transportation, oil and gas, healthcare, software. I didn't see the education aspect. Well, there's education, sorry, there's education, consumer products. So these are, I assume that the standards were quite, the statistical study was done. This is what I meant, Professor Arturo, the statistical study, was it done? I hope not in a World Bank conspiracy. So there are 6 data points were used to determine the organization, big data, maturity, and competency. People. The people metric includes attributes such as data science, professional breakdown, unstructured data processing experts, hiring projection, skill set, recruitment method, and training. These are the things that interest people like us in the universities. And the technology, of course. The technology metric covers features such as type of analytics used in projects, the employment of advanced analytics in projects where AI, AAA, and AI projects are being developed. And of course, the data metrics and our strategy, data delivery, and governance. Sorry. Okay. Malaysia in the BDA Big Data and Maturity is ranked systematic. The whole mission Malaysia is a level 3 systematic in its big data analytics. Overall, Malaysian organizations are actively applying AI, specifically machine learning, in a variety of industry-specific projects with goal. I think most of it is being done by the financial sector, and of course there are other, and telcos. Financial tech sectors and telcos are the leading AI applicators. Malaysian organization, of course, actively upskilling internal staff or recruiting to acquire data science and data engineering skills. And the people metric, by key data point, the people metric has the lowest maturity for Malaysia at level 2. Committed, indicating a BDA skills gap in the organization, from data strategy to data science and data storytelling and data. So that there's still a lot of buffer zone to cover. And if you talk to people who teach IT or data science, whether they are statisticians or they are computer scientists, we have all sorts of issues involved in training people. And one of the problems is also the generations are different. The Z Gen and the millennials are completely a different group of people than baby boomers like me and the X Gen. So breakdown by vertical showed the communication is at a systematic level, as I told you, financial services, and it goes down, energy, and so forth, down to, can I see education? No, I can't see. Education is at systematic level 3. There are retail and real estate, which are at level 2, and consumer goods. In the background, organization sites, the survey was done. 53% of the organization had more than 1,000 employees, and 2% at less than 10 employees. So the statistical data was quite interesting to me, that they were able to get information from large organizations with more than 1,000. People and talent, number of data engineers in the organization, again, handful, 47%. So this is a challenge. Over 100 is only 3%, and that would probably involve telecommunication and financial sectors. And and 11 to 50, about 11%, and so forth. Interesting report, well carried out. And it looks at number of data analysis, 67% about 1 to 10 of them in the system. and over 100 is again 3%. That reflects the same organizations that we're talking about. Data scientists, none, 57%. Number of data scientists in the organization, delivering predictive and prescriptive analytics using AI, including machine learning and deep learning techniques. This is the challenge. I earlier on mentioned about AI when we talked about preparedness, AI, and how do we train these people in AI is going to be a major threshold to cross for Malaysia and Indonesia and other emerging countries. And the technology that was type of analytics used in their projects shows that most of it is at descriptive level, which any one of us who have been technically trained of data in statistics and mathematics and so forth in accounting, we will probably are capable of doing descriptive, and sometimes we're also able to do diagnostic, but predictive and prescriptive is at the C grade level. There are a few other things about collaboration with academic institutions on advanced analytics and AI projects in Malaysia. No, we don't. 43% don't collaborate. That's very high. We run research projects together, 12%. We hire the graduates, 23%. Their students intern with us, 28%. So that's interesting. Interesting for university professors like us and university managers who are present today. Importance of multidisciplinary terms in advanced analytics and AI implementations is critical. It's very important. You cannot run in a solo environment. Importance of talent, of course, it's very important. That cannot be undermined. And the amount of data that is being currently analyzed in the survey of that 150 companies, 53% is on 50 gigabytes, 0 at petabytes, terabytes, and we're already talking about zettabytes. So that's the gap that needs to be filled to meet zettabyte generation. Number of data ingested for analytics, usually numerical data, very few, 50% on text, and very little on images and image processing, AI. China is one of the leading organizers, I think, with the developing countries like US and Japan on image processing, AI and image processing. So there's a long way to go for us. At the cartoon, in their cartoon, if you call AI apprentice, AI knight, Skywalker, AI Padawan, the Grandmaster is Yoda, Malaysia is at the ability to solve complex problems, machine learning, advanced statistical modeling, analytics with structured and external data sources, creation of AI driven by foresight. It is challenging. Nevertheless, I'm certain the spirit of mankind and the spirit of people in Malaysia and Indonesia is to go forward and meet these challenges in a collaborative manner. And what is the roadblocks to big data analytics and AI maturity? And that's the slide which I showed you earlier on. Lack of talent, 38% budget, business understanding, advanced use cases, regulation, and data governance. There was a question just now on transparency. I'm not sure. One of the participants asked about transparency, whether he was talking about the governance issues on data. Training and education is very high. We need to be addressed, 34%. Clear strategies, C-level mandate, high value business, and so hiring experts, 3%. Technology adoption, 8%. Changing the old mindset. I saw this in the Excellency Minister's Minister Bambang, Professor Bambang, on changing the mindset. Changing the mindset is a bigger challenge. And in countries where we have, I'm not sure about the geriatric, the demographic nature of Indonesia very much, but we have a very high proportion of above 60, and we are in a sense also dinosaurs. Changing our mindset can sometimes be very challenging, and this generation gap exists and may delay the process in moving our countries to a higher level. I think I think many of the participants today were not born in 1985, and we saw. I was in my 20s in 1985, and we were amazed at Back to the Future series, where they talked about goggle glasses and flying cars. Recently in Malaysia, when we talk about the flying car, there were apprehensions and critics. But nevertheless, whatever man imagines, whatever has been done in the cinema, whatever been envisaged by sci-fi writers, and I know one of my university visionary writer, Professor Ahmad, is around, right? It will happen. It just requires ingenuity, imagination, and the human spirit. What we are doing today is building Malaysia's workforce of the future. I forgot, I think I removed it. This is our Minister of Science, Yang Berhormat Khairi mentioned this a few years ago. Fact or myth, automation and the rise of robots within superior AI promises to bring about a new era of industry and civilization. Our wildest sci-fi dreams could be realized within a century. The late Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke will not have imagined what they would see today. Yet the clamor and the hoopla surrounding the topic has been overwhelmingly pessimistic, bordering on neoliberalism at times. The fear of advancements in automation, artificial intelligence, and robotics will destroy millions, if not hundreds of millions of their livelihoods. This is from World Economic Forum futurist writer Kolaborasi. Education is the way forward, opening our minds. We're also worried about data secrecy. I know I was very hesitant to use the COVID application called My Sejahtera until very recently, because I didn't want the government to know where I am. I didn't want UCSI to know where I am. Today, mankind had just wished if there was a delete button for 2020. Unfortunately not. We just can't delete this year from the lifetime of mankind. Terima kasih.
Baik.
Arigato to my Japanese friends. Thank you very much. May God bless all mankind. Thank you.
Yeah, terima kasih, Prof. Guru, for your nice presentation. I think it is also interesting to link your presentation to what Prof. Bambang early in the morning said, that what you call that digital transformation. Yeah, I think one of your slides mentioned about the maturity level of the big data and analysis. I think it's not only how we can catch up as a human being about the technology, but also how we can ensure that the technology understand what we need, not we understand what technology progress. And then it's also, I think, interesting also to find out how fast later on the artificial intelligence will move forward to our daily life, yeah, to help and also to, like you said, to substitute several working class group that I think you also proposed that we need to prepare, and then the education, the higher education institution need also take bigger responsibility to prepare on that. So thank you very much for your interesting presentation. And then we will go to the Professor Readiness from Tokyo University. Yeah, you also, Prof. Readiness, will present about the technology and early warning system, I guess, and then how, once again, I think we will advance our creativity and our innovation to help our society in this. I think now we will face not only pandemic, but also the threat or the risk of natural disaster. Maybe Japan and also Indonesia is the same characteristic of located in the Ring of Fire. So we need really to prepare our system to be resilient. And I think one of your idea is to bring the technology to strengthen our early warning system. So we would like to hear your experience from Japan's perspective and also experience. So the floor is yours, Prof. Readiness.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank all the distinguished participants today. So let me start my talk or my presentation. So the title I gave is Technologies and Early Warning System. And part of this is covered a little bit by Mr. Kogure in his presentation. And I will give you more details about this system. And this presentation that I will be talking or discussing will be basically focused on navigation satellite for early warning systems, because there are different types of early warning systems. It may be satellites, it may be television, radio, and so many modes of systems. But today we are going to talk about our navigation satellites, and this will be probably very new for many of you. And before I do that, so I would like to give a brief introduction to what is a satellite or navigation satellite. So when we say navigation satellite, it means it's a system of the satellites that gives you the position or time data, position and time data. Okay? For example, GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, Beidou, QGIS, and NAVIC, all these are navigation satellite systems. And all these systems, we use one keyword called GNSS, Global Navigation Satellite System. Okay? So this is an acronym for all these type of systems. And when we talk about these systems, so I put here, these are the systems from USA, GPS from USA, GLONASS from Russia, Galileo from Europe, and Beidou from China. Also, they have an old name, Compass, and now they also call BDS. So this system is China, and this is available globally, so you can use anywhere. So that's why we call global constellation. But we also have some other regional systems. It's called QGIS. And also the Indian system called NAVIC. So this is what we are going to talk. So these systems are basically for position and time, but we can also use for broadcasting warning messages. Okay? So these are the new possibilities that we can do by using these satellites. For example, so we can broadcast warning messages during disasters using the Japanese QGIS satellite. And also in future, Galileo, this is from Europe. So this system will also be capable of doing this. And so besides the broadcasting warning message, so it can also provide some function called search and rescue if something happens, like in the marine or in the aviation. So you can send a distress signal, and this type of support can also be done from the service is already started from the Galileo. I think the Japanese satellite will also have a similar system in future. So these are not directly related to the positioning and time service, but this type of early warning message and some disaster related information can be broadcasted. So these are something new in the navigation satellites. Okay, so this is what we are going to talk today. So this is, everybody knows this, the worst tsunami disaster in the world so far. We hope we don't have this type of disaster anymore. So it happened in 2004, so almost 16 years, and still this is it remains in our mind, and every time we have tsunami, so we recall this incident as well. And Indonesia, so many islands and lots of earthquakes, so many earthquakes and so many tsunamis. So I think this type of early warning system is very, very important for Indonesia. But I reviewed some material, what is the status in Indonesia and what type of early warning systems and all. Of course, Indonesia has a very good, already established early warning system. And I read some news that they have some problem, okay? Because the problem is how to reach the people in the risk zone and send them the alert message within the time. This is very, very difficult. So it's not only Indonesia. So I think it's a global problem. Any country, whatever technologies they have or how advanced it is, this problem still exists. Okay, it's very, very difficult because we really don't know where are the people. So this is one problem. And another one is during this type of natural disaster, huge disaster, so the shutdown of power or communication systems. So it makes all the systems, maybe it's not working, like a mobile phone, they may not work because they need power, electricity, and also they work on a certain limited bandwidth, the network. So if thousands of people start talking or calling the mobile phone in the same area, probably there will be a network congestion and it will not work. Okay? And that makes a delay in sending the message. So this was one of the problems in Indonesia as well, because you send a text message, but the text message was not received at the other end because it was delayed due to network congestion and other bandwidth problem or the communication, other troubles, electricity, and so on. So these problems exist. They will not disappear even if the technology is advanced. And this is a sort of the monitoring system. This is example for tsunami and also the sort of a warning, early warning system. So we can see the buoys here in the sea, and we have a tidal gauge sensors, we have seismometers, and also we have some accelerometer sensors. So Indonesia has this type of system, very similar systems, and it's working perfectly well. So once they see some changes in the sea level or some warning message, warning signs, so it will be sent to the control center or warning center, and this will be reviewed by the authorities. And once they find that, okay, so this earthquake may trigger tsunami, then this message will be sent to the public by using different types of communication networks. It may be very manual, like a siren, or this type of warning signs, or sending the text message, or alert sounds, and so on, or displaying the message. There may be many modes of these warning systems. Okay? So this is what I mean the early warning system. So you have this type of warning systems. But this is, so you have here, and then this control center is sending the data through the authorities. Once verified the authorities, so they will send the message to the people using all the available technology, including radio, TV, and so on, which I don't put here. So you will be using all sorts of media, okay, to inform the public. So on top of this, so what we can do now is this one. Okay. So this is a architecture of the QGIS early warning system that you also saw in Mr. Kogre's presentation in a different way, but this is the same way of implementing the system, like a QGIS satellite. This satellite transmits a special signal, and that signal is designed for broadcasting warning messages during natural disaster. Okay, so what it will be doing is it is sending the signal all the time. All the time means, I think, currently at every 4-second interval, and this is broadcasting the message telling you where the disaster has happened and what is the risk, the severity of this disaster, and which will be the area that will be affected. Okay, this information will be broadcasted from the satellite, and it goes directly to the control center. I mean, this warning center or some authority, government authority, and also these type of sensors are already monitoring. These are the existing systems. So we are just adding up this one. And once the authority decide, okay, this warning, this message should be sent to the public people as an alert, then this can be sent to the control center in Japan, and this will upload the message to the satellite. And once it's uploaded to the satellite, it will broadcast to all the people. I mean, because this is a satellite, so it will be broadcasted to its coverage area. But what it can be done is we can have a control to send a message. I mean, the message will be displayed in the affected people in the affected area. That can be controlled at the user side. Okay? So once this signal or this message is broadcasted from the satellite, for example, this receiver or this mobile phone can receive it directly. Okay? Or this control center can also receive it directly, and it can then relay the message to its existing warning systems, this type of siren or message display systems or flashing lights and so on, or the mobile phone or another type of system. So this is a very, very convenient system, and this will be very useful during the disasters, because when you have such a huge disaster, like the problem we discussed before, the electricity problem or the network congestion problem will not affect these users, because this is just coming from the satellite to your device, and you don't need to do two-way communication. This is just broadcasting and you just listening. This is like a radio. So if you put on the radio with a loud volume, so anybody, anyone who is near the radio can hear it. Okay? So you don't have to communicate with the radio. So that means this one message can reach to millions of people. No such network problem. Okay, just a download here, the broadcast, and they can receive. So this is a very simple architecture, and it can be implemented without much complexity at the user side or the system side here. I think this type of system will be very, very useful for Indonesia or other highly natural disaster prone countries. Okay. So this is the system, but how this to implement is, sorry, let me just tell you first why this type of system is useful, because I already explained it can reach people in the affected area at the same time. Once it broadcasts, so you receive the message, so without any delay, you can get the message. And the government can send the message to people, like what is the severity level and what the people should do, where they should go, and how to manage, so some sort of management. I think some instruction from the government or the authority to the public can be provided. And this system can be designed so that people in the affected area only affected area people can receive it. So we have a sort of a geo boundary or geo fence, like if there is a tsunami in the Aceh area in Indonesia, so they should get the message. But people in the Jakarta, maybe not a priority, but people in the Aceh area, maybe higher priority. So we can program or make a system in such a way that all the people in that affected area will be notified. Okay? So this is using the people's location data at a time. Okay? And the mobile phone, which they are using, they have a GPS receiver, so it can know, it knows where they are. Okay? So this type of things can be developed at the user side or the user device. No bandwidth limit, because the satellite is just transmitting one signal, and it is listened by all the receivers. It's like a radio. Okay? It's not like a mobile phone. You don't have such type of bandwidth limit, not like internet, Wi-Fi or other things. And again, this is another problem. So during the huge disaster, so there is a problem of the power shortage and power breakdown, electricity breakdown, and so on. since it's coming from the satellite, so its satellite is already there, is working. The only thing is that your device should have a battery to receive the signal. Okay, normally you will have a battery at least for some hours, so probably this is okay. And it's not necessary that your mobile phone should be working. Maybe due to the communication, this congestion and all, you may not be able to use the mobile phone, I mean to call make a phone, but you can still receive the message from the satellite. This is the benefit. So how it can be implemented is at the warning message generation side, because you have to generate a warning message. So you have the authority already there. And once the authority decide, okay, this message should be broadcasted, then that has to be sent to the control center and to send to the satellite. Okay? And some protocols shall be defined, probably something similar like a CAP, Common Alerting Protocol for the global standard, because if the satellite has the broadcast, so it's not only Indonesia, maybe many other countries, they will be using similar protocol, and in the device, they should have a capability to read this message. So some format, standard format shall be designed. I think this is now going on. And then at the receiving side, so how do you receive the signal? It requires a GPS or QGIS receiver that is capable to receive QGIS warning message. So this is one additional thing. At present, there are not many mobile phones that can receive this message, but the technology is changing very fast. In the next few years, I suppose that there will be many, many devices that is capable of receiving this type of message. So there should not be any problem in the next 3 to 5 years. And these type of devices are getting very, very cheap. Actually, the receivers inside the mobile phone, they are just $1 to a few dollars. So it really doesn't add up the cost at the user side. And if we want to put this type of receiver in the, like a siren or some government authority offices, warning centers, and also you just need to put one receiver there. And that cost is very cheap. I think maybe just a few $100s for the whole system. So it's extremely low cost system. And that can help to deploy thousands of this in Indonesia, because you have so many islands, many mountainous area, and it's very, very difficult to reach those areas by the conventional system. And of course, probably this type of common alerting protocol shall be customized for Indonesia, but the base system shall be maintained. And recently now we are doing this type of a prototype. Actually, we are working on this under our program called MGA. We are doing a prototype development challenge. So we are already working on this. So if you look at this, this is a GNSS or QGIS receiver that can receive the early warning message. This is another device from Sony, Expressense device. It has this QGIS receiver, and it can receive this EWS message. So you just need one additional device, and with this, you can do all this type of early warning message system. So this is our prototype now. The people, I mean, some participants who want to do this type of prototype development, they are attending, right? This few months of work. So my recommendation is that satellite-based early warning systems shall be added to the current warning system to reach people up to the last mile. Okay. So I think somebody's writing here, I don't know. So this type of things will be will enhance your existing current warning system. And that's okay. I just have a few more slides.
Yeah, please, Prof. Linus.
So this is about some GNSS related projects in Indonesia. Okay. So actually, I'm now involved in two basic type of research or pilot projects. One is related with the traffic congestion study. And this, we are going to do a pilot project very soon with CSDA, University of Indonesia, with Dr. Liniola. And also we are thinking about doing some pilot project for dynamic road pricing to manage the traffic congestion. Okay? So this is under planning, and probably it will take within this year. And also I have been involved with IMRO for the last some time, marine related application. This is basically with the illegal fishing in Indonesia. So fishing management, controlling illegal fishing or marine ecology or supply chain and so on. Okay. So these are some of our past activities. I went to Indonesia in August 2017. We had a space utilization seminar. I think this is Japan and Indonesia government program. Then we had a system in Indonesia, University of Indonesia in Salemba campus. And we had, I think, 2 or 3 GNSS webinars, seminars, training, and so on. And this is going up. And just this year, we added one more system for Madoka PPP, very high accuracy system. And this is our like a field demo for fishing management. This is a patrol boat. And then we had a look of this type of fishing boats. So during this time in 2018, this area, they said that they have not been to the sea for more than 6 months because they cannot catch any fish. Now they want to know why this has happened, whether this is overfishing, illegal fishing, or marine ecology changes or something, so that they want to study. But when we talk about using the GPS in the fishing boats, so every fisherman are not very happy. So then we decided, okay, let's do a workshop or do some discussion with them. And we invited about 50 to 60 local fishermen. And then we had quite 3 or 4 hours discussion, half a day discussion with them, and told them how GPS can help you to manage your fishing business. So this is a sort of a workshop with a local fisherman who goes to the sea every day. And also we are discuss with IMRO for very low cost systems here for this vessel or this management. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Dinesh. I think you had a very wonderful explanation on the system.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of GNSS and also the QZSS quasi system.
Yeah.
Zenit system. Yeah, and I think it will be interesting. I think for Indonesian, because in the building permit system now we will convert to the what we call online single submissions, where then the permit goes to our detailed spatial planning plan, and we need also, I think, real-time checker, whether the proposal of this building already in the conforming zoning from the spatial plan. I think it will be interesting for our further talk about this. And also, I think you have explained that this tool has already been exercised in Indonesia through UI and also through Fisheries, Ocean and Fisheries Department. But one, I think maybe you can clarify as well. There is also one question that maybe you can have quick answer. Mm-hmm. Indonesia only has 276 GNS cores, yeah? It's not comparable to Japan, which has 1,000 plus stations. It is from Agung questions. And then do you also have any recommendation, I think, from your perspective on how QZSS play a more on, is it like Galileo, he asked about the, or whether it's only can be benefited from Asian countries for, SAR is like rescue team in the disaster, and what else that we can maybe highlight or make more emphasize on the uses of this QZSS.
Okay, so let me put few points. Basically, QGIS satellite works together with the GPS or other systems. So QGIS has very unique features. So one is to provide a very high accuracy positioning service using the system, or the signal called Madoka and SILAS. Okay. So if you use these two signals, so you don't need a base station.
Oh, okay.
Now Indonesia has how many you said? Few hundred, 200 something. Okay?
Yeah.
You have course stations. Of course, you need the course station for very high accuracy observation, like a geodetic or tectonic movement and so on, for earthquake prediction and all, or very high accuracy geodetic survey, like a millimeter accuracy, these type of services. But you also have lots of applications that just require maybe a centimeter level accuracies. Okay, some maybe just a 10 to 30 centimeter accuracy may be enough, but some may require maybe a little bit higher, maybe a few centimeters accuracy. So Madoka PPP service that is available from QGIS, it provides you 10 to 20 centimeters of accuracy. And with some other local correction techniques, so it can give you maybe the accuracy within 10 centimeter or better. Okay. So this is a very unique feature from QGIS, and to utilize this good feature, so we are now doing research or customizing the system to make the system very, very low cost. So this is another part, because the current core systems, maybe the cost is very, very high. So how to make this cost low is very important in Asian countries, or the countries in Indonesia, or basically in the Southeast Asia. So we cannot purchase $10,000 receiver, hundreds of units. So how to minimize the cost is one part. So we have some sample or some prototype already developed, maybe just a few $100s for Madoka. And so this device will be provided to UI, few units we provide to UI, and also maybe the survey authority in Indonesia, and they can try whether this will help to increase their system or not. Okay. Maybe this can be used as maybe not as a class A, maybe as a class B. Class A means a millimeter. So class B, if you are okay with the centimeter level accuracy, maybe 10 centimeter, and there are lots of applications. So this type of system will help. And this doesn't need a course, so you save a lot. So you don't have to put a base, you don't need a power, continuous power supply and all. So you just do the survey wherever you want, and get the centimeter level, 10 centimeter level of accuracy.
Okay.
So lots of island and mountains. So I think this will be a very, very useful system for Indonesia.
Yeah, I thank you so much for your comments. I want to move to Prof. Kuru. There is also a question from Agung again about the data transparency. Would you mind to elaborate it, Prof. Kuru? Are you still with us? Prof. Kuru?
I was asking the participant. Yes. Was he talking about data secrecy, or when he meant by transparency?
Correct.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. The question is that Henricus, in 30 years from now, if I'm still alive, I can be easily obliterated by the big company or the big government by just pressing a button. That's the danger. If they know where you are and what you are, they can laser pinpoint you and decide to kill you, just like what drones are doing, So the danger the danger is there. The danger has been there since science discovers things and so forth. But it's the man. And it's a sad part, the sad part of sociology of a human tragedy, to see how man can become corrupted by moral ethics. I don't want to talk into politics as it covers multinations, big companies, you know, and they can use it, especially from developed countries, to work on and destroy economics of smaller countries and make us poorer. The gap is going to be very big. I'm very worried for the future of Malaysians, my family, my generations to come. What is the scenario? Of course, my former boss, Tan Sri Gao Jasman, always says, Kuru, you're a pessimist. And yeah, I'm a realist. I don't know. I consider myself as a realist. Yeah.
I understand about that. So in this case, the literacy that you also mentioned before, that the data literacy also need to be followed by how the regulation can enable the transparency issue, how to
transparency issue. Yeah. Privately, I discussed the question with the participant, and he is thinking about data being not fully used, fully utilized by policymakers and etc. Not sure. Not all data is open. Not all data is open. But I can tell you, when I'm looking for data, sometimes I have to work very hard on the Google. Because sometimes I cannot get it from the resources I have within, but I know the Malaysian government has created a My Government data. Nevertheless, the data is more descriptive, Hendrikus, more descriptive. Histograms and pie charts, which don't tell the whole story. What we want is the actual data.
It's like a frame story.
You know.
Okay. I will move to Pak Ator. Pak Ator, there is also a question from Pak Agung about the asymmetric information or symmetric information due to of this digitalization. What do you perspective on this?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hendrikus, and from the participant Pak Agung Indrajit. Yes, logically, yes. I think the current technology, Internet of Things, and etc., I think will make the asymmetry of the information will become smaller. Logically, yes, but as many users can directly communicate, and for example, we can just search and then make a comparison according the price, for example, and also to make a little survey about the rating of the product, etc. So we can make a good comparison according anything that we can do. So yes, I think logically technology will able to make asymmetric information lesser and lesser. I think yes. Thank you.
Okay. Professor Satoshi Kogure, are you still with us? Because there is also two questions that need to be clarified.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome questions.
Again, from Agung. He's, I think, a PhD student from TU Delft. So he is quite diligent to ask. He is interested in QZSS as well. Yeah, can be accessible for mobile phone, or is it better than PPP, or should we invest 4.0 or leapfrog to 5.0? Do you have any comments or advice for these questions, please?
Okay, thank you very much for having interest in our system. So the first question, so the QGSS accessible for the mobile phone. So the my presentation, so I showed sort of one slide, so the QGSS support, equipment. So yeah. Some of smartphone, especially so the latest one, so it has already equipped QGSS support chipset. So, but it is only tracking basic lensing signal from QGIS. So Dr. Dinesh mentioned we have the unique capability to transmit the error correction message for the PPP. So unfortunately need the additional band the signal reception for receiving such kind of error correction message. So the Dr. Nilesh mentioned he is developing the low cost receiver set for the receiving the PPP error correction message from QGIS. So I'm not sure. So Google as the smartphone manufacturer has a plan to add additional signal reception capability for the mobile phone. But we are promoting such kind of future benefit for all users in the Asia Pacific countries.
Thank you so much for your explanation. Dear colleagues, I think I forgot now we are entering like 11:50 from Indonesian time. I think we just ran out 10 minutes from our session. So I apologize for the other raised questions. I think from Pak Daneswara, from Pak Dipak, Julfikar, and Ibu Nikadek from Bali. I cannot deliver a question to our resource persons here. Maybe later you can contact our research center, because I think this is the reason why this research center being established under the SKSG. I think we have Ibu Linyola here, so please, we are welcoming your question or expectation from this workshop. So once again, Honorable Satoshi Kogure, Prof. Guru, Prof. Danis, and also Pak Ator, thank you so much for your sharing today. I think we have so many questions raised in our list, but of course, I cannot ask further, because it is also very important for us to keep our health, because this is approaching our lunchtime. But then once again, thank you very much again for your enrichment and enlightening discussion today. So I will give this floor to the Master Ceremony. Once again, I apologize if any other missing words or missing question that I delivered to you. And we give applause to our speakers, yes, ladies and gentlemen. So Ibu Siti, you can take from this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hendrikus, for a very dynamic discussion. Now we will have a message from our distinguished partners, Academician Senior Professor Dato Dr. Khalid Yusuf, Vice Chancellor and President UCSI University Malaysia. Dato Khalid, you may take the floor.
Please unmute, sir.
Still in mute.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Professor Dr. Ari Kunchoro, Rector, University Indonesia, Mr. Satoshi Kagure, National Space Policy Secretary, Japan, honorable panelists and participants. Firstly, let me congratulate CSDA and Universitas Indonesia for organizing this very important and informative webinar. From the presentation this morning, it is very clear that Malaysia and Indonesia have similar aspirations and common challenges for the future as emerging economies and harmonious communities, and that IT has been identified as one of the keys forward. The speakers this morning, including the Minister, Professor Bambang, and our Director General, Dato Siti Hamisa, have clearly delineated the essential role of universities in creating the future. COVID-19 has shown the importance of collaboration and cooperation, and that the post-COVID world will certainly be pushed forward by further collaboration and cooperation. For Professor Kunchoro's information, there is already some collaboration between UCSI University and UI, which has been initiated in the field of coastal cities and oceanography. I'm sure this webinar will lead to a closer collaboration in research and training between UI, University of Tokyo, and UCSI University in this enlarging field of IT. Perhaps we should form a consortium for research and training in this field. Thank you very much and all the best. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dato' Khalid, for the very dearly message. On behalf of CSDA SSGS Universitas Indonesia, we would like to thank UCSI for the warm collaboration with us. Now we will have closing remarks from Vice Director of SSGS Universitas Indonesia. Please welcome Abdul Muta'ali, PhD.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. His Excellency Rector Universitas Indonesia, Professor Ali Kunchoro, Honorable Rectors and Deans of our partners universities, UCSI University and the University of Tokyo, all speakers and participants. COVID-19 is not a local or regional disaster. This disaster is global disaster called the pandemic. It is not just a global disaster, but our life are highly influenced as a whole from health, economic, education. Facing this pandemic cannot be alone. Efforts to preparing a vaccine by one country are really efforts of saving human in the world, not only for the country providing of the vaccine, but technology and economic construction is a collective effort. Digital and technology transformation, economic transformation, and information are object and subject for us in this pandemic context. This international webinar is the cooperation of 3 countries head by the School of Strategic and Global Studies, Universitas Indonesia, to know how the experiences and innovation have been done and passed in facing strategic and global challenges. Thank you to the Rector of Universitas Indonesia, Professor Ali Kunchoro, who have given direction and guidelines to us and open this event. Of course, our honor to Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, the Minister of Research, Technology, and the Chairman of the National Research Agency for keynote speech. Our honor for Director General, the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, Malaysia. Thank you also to Mr. Satoshi Kagure for your keynote speaker. And appreciation to 3 our speakers who have shared the result and of a study and analysis in this forum. Of course, our appreciation for our partners, UCSI University and the University of Tokyo. We hope keep and more with us in partnership. To the participant and audience, thank you also for committee who prepare this event well. Lots of information and experience we get from this forum. It will be useful and help us in taking up to global and strategic challenges. Thank you for all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Vice Director. Ladies and gentlemen, our program today is closing to the edge. To keep updated, you can visit our website on www.csda.sksg.ui.ac.id. We also have some upcoming events. We will have 2 international conferences, ICSDAMS and ICSGS, which will be conducted virtually in the 8th and 9th December. For detail, please visit our website. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you can take home the good insight and contribution from this event. On behalf of CSDA, I would like to extend gratitude for your kind attention and participation. Very good evening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Keep in touch, stay healthy, and see you in the next event.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you, CSI.
Bye.
Thank you, University of Tokyo. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.